No, something right here. We've had a failure.
I've had just some weird, just nuanced stuff like this before.
So we have a set of multi V5s and we're tripping a 150 code. We'll get the laptop hooked up and you'll get to see some of that. That 150 code is like a liquid flooding or low discharge temp. That being the case, you know, this got 15 heads inside with, you know, 3 condensers. You have your master and then your 2 slaves. We need to verify, one, how are the valves acting? You know, do we have a valve that's, you know, overfeeding? Maybe it says on the system that it's actually in a really low step, but in reality it's way overfeeding the coil possibly, which we'll be able to see that on the differential across the coil or the superheat being generated. And then the second thing is maybe we've got a temperature sensor that's just out, you know, it's way out of whack. Yeah, so you can see here we got a 150 code. So if you haven't seen this before, I am going to do a video on the full hookup and navigation of this, but you know, we do have a little plug that plugs into the main board, and then it goes into this little adapter module. There's a set of switches that you have to cycle between depending on the model and version that you're working on. So we are working on a 5. So we flipped our dip switches there to that. What that's adjusting is the communication like baud rate and stuff, so that this little module can communicate properly to interface with this controller, and that just plugs back in via USB into your laptop, which at that point, or just what's critical is you have to set your COM port for that specific LGMV module once you configure it on your laptop. The indoor temps are about the same. Now that's except for our indoor number 5. We actually are having a communication issue on that indoor unit and it's not registering properly on this side of the system. So that's a separate issue that we can dive into at a later time. The suction 390. Oh, these are in the wrong style. Yeah, we're set to PSI. That's interesting. Confirm. Look at those temperatures on the condenser.
Your discharge lines. So the 572 is what I've seen so far as being like when you have no sensor, when it's not communicating, what's like the default setting.
All right, so we have all these inverters, like all these sensors are low pressure. High pressure is not reporting. Those show 0. All these something ain't right here. We've had a failure, because all those readings should not look like that. We'll do a power cycle on it. We'll hit all 3 of them. No, you want to disconnect here first. Yep. Now we'll let everything sit for a couple of minutes. Being the fact that those numbers came back the way they did really makes me question if we had a control board or something fail, or I don't work on these every day like I used to, and I'm completely blanking on why it does that. So the power cycle, it cleared our alarm, which was one of the goals. We did want to clear that at this point, but 2, we do have all of our readings coming in the way we wanted them to at this point. So yeah, something was definitely going on with that, and I find that concerning. And it could be wrong. Y'all could give some input in the comments, but I don't believe that a 150 code is going to lock out a control module to the point to where we're going to start throwing, you know, random readings that shouldn't be there. Because I mean, yeah, we were like here at the low pressure, we weren't reading any pressure on either low or high transducers, and then our suction temperature was like 300 and something. I mean, it just, no, that ain't right. Anyway, regardless, the indoors are reporting in, except for one. We still have one of them that's not, doesn't look like it's communicating. This is a HRU, so it's a heat recovery unit, so we may have some in cool, some in heat. Looks like it's probably going to go into heating. We got way more heat calls than we do cool calls. Granted, it didn't help that it's only, yeah, they're all taken off. It's only what, 70 degrees? It's not even that, probably 65. After we've had like 20 degrees to 30 degrees for, I don't know, what, a week?
Yeah, cold.
I ended up deciding to do a full power cycle again. We're having trouble with 1 and 2, getting them to have a stable COM. What I'm hoping is, we left these off for a solid 5 minutes or so, and I really want everything, because the first time we only did it for maybe 30 seconds. I really want everything to completely cycle down and just settle down and then try to come back up. System 3 or slave 2 has been running perfectly fine. We hadn't had an issue with it, but we can see all the readings on it, but we can't on 2 and 1, which is the master and slave 1. So I really want to see those readings. Now keep in mind, the 150 code is a cooling only error. So what that means is we've been running in heat mode, and right now I just want to see the thing operate in general. What we'll end up doing is we will cycle this into a test mode, which will force it into a full cool, and we'll be able to then see what's happening. Now, doing a little bit of reading on the manual, we were able to confirm that the only way you can trip a 150 is if all the indoor heads are in a cooling mode. We know that it wasn't some kind of weird cold weather day or something like it. Whatever happened, we had to have had enough load on the building to have the entire building in a cooling mode. There are some definite things going on here, but what we've come to so far is we're currently ramping up, and we've got the whole system in cool mode. We did a manual override, lock everything in, drop all the indoor temps, and so far everything's looking okay. We do have this one box, IDU 9, that is trying to keep the superheat up, but I mean it's doing fine. These things run pretty low on superheat to begin with. I've not been able to resolve why the master and slave 1 are not coming in, and specifically the inverter temperatures are coming in, but the rest of them aren't. Now you would think that the external PCB board on the bottom there would be the problem, and so did we. Those are the identical boards between these two units. We did trade them between 1 and the master and slave 2 just to see how the system would respond, and it made absolutely no change. We still do not have any of those points on the master, and slave 2 is still bringing them all in without any trouble. So not really sure what to think of that, to be honest. I sat on the phone for about, I don't know, hour and a half with tech support, got absolutely nowhere, so I'm not going to waste any more time on that today. Right now my focus is, I can see 3. All of these should be really close to each other. Short of just being able to completely verify every one of these sensors, I can kind of get an idea on how we're running overall. We've got some kind of strange communication issue between the units and the boards. Not really sure honestly what is going on. If you have any input, I'm happy to hear it, because I would like to know why I can't get these points to pull in. Again, if I could get tech support on the phone, maybe that would help. What I can see is, we're loading up. We're not having to run the EXVs super high. If anything, they're running a little low, which is a good thing, because that means, we don't have like a charge issue or anything, which is one of the major things we want to verify, is to make sure we're not low on charge, which I definitely do not think is the problem. Yeah, we've been running really solid for a little while now. Our superheat's doing fine. I mean, our subcool's right where it needs to be. Our EXVs and coils are doing really well. I mean, it just, other than some communication problems, which we can work out and resolve as we go. Sometimes, to be honest, I've had just some weird, just nuanced stuff like this before come back in a couple of months, for another inspection or something, and everything just worked perfectly fine. So we'll have to talk to the customer a little bit deeper and see if he just wants us to put the time in to even try. When it comes to physical system operation, it's doing fine, and clearly everything is working fine. It's just we're not able to see it for whatever reason, which means, yeah, something's happening. We can't pinpoint exactly what, but that's okay. At this point, I genuinely think the 150 was just some weird freak whatever. I don't know. Given the fact that I am having some weird comm problems, leads me to believe that could have contributed somehow, put the system in a weird situation that made it see readings that it shouldn't have, is really the best I can say towards this. I wish I had a better answer. Funny thing, guys, we're packing up now, but I was doing a training video on how to go into the test mode and whatnot, and start that cycle. And as I was doing a test mode from the laptop, it actually triggered the communication module, or the main PCB, and it started communicating. Like all of a sudden master and slave 1, just sometimes you get these finicky little bugs and you can chase them for hours, and you just click one button and it cycles just some random parameter that a power cycle wouldn't do anything for, and all of a sudden everything starts talking. So you got to be careful, guys. These systems they'll bite you sometimes. So that was a prime example of where, you know, just if I hadn't had submitted it, who knows, I mean, it may have been next time we were out here to do a PM, we try to do a force test, and, you know, it did it then. You know, who knows what. Anyway, I wanted to throw that in there before I actually took off, that we got the master and the slave 1 to actually start communicating to the laptop to the point where we could actually read readings. So yay. So MTT guys, take care of your family, spend time with your spouses, and we'll catch you on the next one.